Hey guys, I am so excited because today we are finally going to start talking about the 6 killers of our confidence. Now, if you missed my first video, I've been working with women for about 22 years between coaching and now confidence coaching and working one-on-one. And as I look back on our conversations where these women have allowed me into the depths of their soul, I have picked the top 6 things that I think mess with our confidence the most. Those things that have the potential to kill our confidence the most. Now today, I'm gonna start talking about number 1, which is our anchors and our armor. Now to remind you, our anchors is our unspoken truth. That's stuff that is true in our life, but we don't wanna talk about it, we don't wanna deal with it, so we shove it down into the darkness of our soul and just hope that someday it'll go away. But unfortunately, it doesn't just go away. It becomes an anchor in us. And we go to take a step forward into our potential, into the life that we want to live, and we're stuck. Because that's what anchors are made to do, right? They're meant to keep us stuck. They're meant to keep us from moving forward. They're meant to keep us exactly where we are. And those of you out there, some of you guys know what it feels like to be stuck. I mean, in my 45 years of life, I've been there a couple of times. It's one of the worst places to be. Now, I think there are 3 main things, or at least, what I've learned, I think there are 3 main things that really fill our anchor. And number 1 is our fear and our doubts, because we don't want to talk about that, right? Number 2, our shame. No way, we definitely don't want to talk about that. And number 3, resentment, right? So today I'm going to talk about fear, and I am beyond excited to talk about it because it's one of my favorite subjects. And the reason that it's one of my favorite subjects is because nobody talks about it. At least nobody talks about it in a real way. So I'm excited to talk about it today. So I think that there are facts or basics about fear that are really important that we know. So I thought today I would just go over these basics, these facts that, again, I think are important that we know. Now, number 1 is everyone experiences fear, but everyone also thinks they're the only one experiencing it. And when we as women think that we are the only one, what do we think? What is wrong with me, right? Everybody else out here is fine. What is wrong with me? We also think we're weak. And you athletes out there, we wonder this whole idea of mentally tough, can we ever achieve it, right? And because we're the only one, it's embarrassing. So number 2, we're not going to talk about it, right? Nobody ever talks about it. And so we sit and we struggle alone. And again, shove it down, it becomes like an anchor. Number 3, fear is freaking powerful. Don't ever underestimate the power of fear. It can keep us from our dreams. It can keep us from our potential. It can keep us from the life that we are worthy of. Don't underestimate fear. It is powerful. Now, number 4, I don't believe in fearless, okay? Now, I don't believe in fearless in pressure moments. If you're not under pressure, of course, you can be fearless. But in a moment where you're feeling pressure, in a moment that you care, truly care about the result, if something's at stake, right? In that moment, I don't believe that you're going to be fearless. I believe fear is going to come every time. I have worked with some of the best athletes in the world. I've never met one that in a pressure moment, they're fearless. I believe fear is coming. So let me let you in on a secret. I'm never going to give you tips on how to be fearless. I'm never going to give you tips on how to get rid of fear. But we are going to talk about how to handle it when it does come. Number 5, what I've learned is the only way that we have learned how to handle that fear when it comes is to just shove it down, ignore it, and pretend that it's not there. But just because you pretend it's not there doesn't mean it's not there. And it certainly doesn't mean that it's not affecting you in a negative way. Now, number 6, where does fear begin? Now, as women, we know we have about 1,200 thoughts going on at all times, right? And these thoughts aren't simple. They are deep and they are complex, obviously very different, from men. I'm not going to get into that right now. I will at some point, but not now. But anyway, in our 1,200 thoughts, we always seem to run into a what if. And let's be honest, when we run into a what if, we never go best case scenario. I've never met a woman walk into a pressure moment and think, what if this is the greatest moment of my life, right? We don't do that. When a what if enters our mind, we go worst case scenario. And when a what if comes and we put a worst case scenario attached to it, what happens? Fear, right? Brene Brown, my favorite author, my hero, really. If you haven't read any of her books, please go get one. I started with Daring Greatly. I've read them all, but I started with Daring Greatly. It absolutely changed my life. But anyway, Brene says, there isn't a mom on earth that hasn't stood at the door of their sleeping child and just watched them sleep and just thought, oh my gosh, like I created this child. I can't believe the love that I feel. And what's the next thought? Oh my God, what if something happens, right? Now, Brene calls that foreboding joy, which pretty much means you're assuming something bad is going to happen. Now, Brene and I have very different educational backgrounds. Brene is a doctor. I went to college to swim and somehow came out with a degree, but hey, I have lots of experience. But anyway, she's gonna call it foreboding joy. I just call it the what ifs. And you're gonna hear me talk about the what ifs a lot when it comes to fear, right? So just know I'm talking about a what if with a worst case scenario attached that brings fear. Let's talk about some pressure moments. Walking into a job interview, what's going through your mind? Oh, what if I go in there and they ask me a question I don't know? What if I embarrass myself? What if I don't get the job? How about athletes walking into competitions? I know, I work with you guys, right? What if I lose? What if I mess this up? What if I disappoint everybody, right? How about a tryout at school? You high schoolers out there, you walk into the tryout thinking about what? Oh God, what if I don't make it? Worst case scenario, right? Or how about walking into a presentation at work or walking into a big meeting with your boss? We have a what if with every worst case scenario attached to it. We are walking into these moments afraid and we're missing out on being at our best. And here's the deal. A lot of times we won't even go to the interview because a what if with a worst case scenario attached. Oh, I already know how it's going to turn out. Nope, I'm not even going to try. How about a tryout? No way, I've been through it. I know what's going to happen. Worst case scenario. I'm not even going to try. A what if with a worst case scenario attached brings fear, which keeps us from the life that we're worthy of. So I'm going to stop there, but I want to challenge you real quick. This week, if you find yourself in a pressure moment, you find yourself in a moment that you care about the result, something is at stake, I want you to wake up and be aware of what is going through your mind. Be aware of your thoughts, because here's the deal. If you don't know, you can't fix it. But here's the good news. You can fix it. Even though fear is powerful, we can learn how to handle it and move forward from it. So I can't wait for next week because we're going to dive deeper into the what ifs and we're going to dive deeper into how to handle that fear when it comes. I hope you join me. I'll see you next time.